Hi everyone, hope you are feeling positive and healthy. Please subscribe with bell notifications if you haven't already, and please don't hesitate to leave your valuable feedback and advice below. Thank you very much. Let's jump into the stories. Am I the unreasonable one for kicking this girl out of my house after she mistook my UK flag for a Confederate flag and was planning to get us fired from our jobs? So for a bit of background, we are all in our mid-20s and live in the USA. Me and two of my friends rent out a decent size house and we had a get together. My roommate is friends with these two girls, call them Kate and Jess, and they invite with them a new friend, call her Ashley. Now Ashley, when she comes over, I see that she is recording us. I thought she was just posting to her Instagram and Snapchat. I don't pay attention to any of it really. I notice that she is just videotaping a lot. So I am like, Kate, can you check on your friend, like what's going on? Turns out, she thought that the UK flag we have hanging in our living room was a Confederate flag, and she was getting evidence against us. When she found out that it wasn't, everyone just acted like it was a huge joke. But I got pissed. Like, for real? You think we are racist, yet invite you over to our house, where you have our hospitality and our food/alcohol. In the meanwhile, you are getting evidence to ruin our livelihoods? I don't want anyone like that in my house at all. So I make a scene and get her to leave. Kate and Jess say it was just a misunderstanding. I was like, no, there wasn't. Yes, the principle behind it. Some of our friends have came to Ashley's side, but I don't see how you can support her. Not the unreasonable one. WTF? This girl needs to Google the UK flag. Americans know what the UK flag looks like, so the fact that she didn't is mind-blowing. Not the unreasonable one. I don't want someone in my house who's secretly recorded me in an effort to ruin my life. You have every right to ban her from your home, even if your roommates don't agree. She's not a safe person to have in your living space. Am I the unreasonable one for asking my GF to pay for a new prosthesis? I am 24, had an auto accident over 2 years ago that resulted in a left leg knee amputation. I thought that would be the end of my active lifestyle. I loved all kinds of sports as a kid and I still do. I had a very hard time adjusting to my new normal. My parents were able to get me a prosthetic leg that allowed me to get back to running and going trips with my friends like we always do every summer. The guys were planning an RV trip on the weekend. We had already chosen a destination, which was spending some time out in nature and get away from stress. My girlfriend asked if she could come along. I told her no, this is a guy's trip. Told all my buddies' girlfriends wanted to go, but they were firm and put their foot down. She laughed at me for this, then tried to convince me to let her come cause she was feeling stressed out from being at home 24/7. I already made up my mind. I wasn't going to ruin the trip just because she wants to be on a guy's trip. I promised her a trip when I get back. She got upset and didn't like the idea. Later on, before I went to sleep, I took my prosthesis off as I do every night. This is my second prosthesis. I've already completed a wearing schedule during first year and had to get another prosthesis to accommodate any physical changes I had. I woke up in the morning and I couldn't find my prosthesis. I looked where I put it, but it was gone. I asked my girlfriend, who was doing heavy cleaning around the place, and she said she didn't see it. I was confused. It was near my bed. I asked her to stop being childish and playing games and give back my prosthesis because I knew she took it. She's a bad liar, couldn't even deny it. She said she wanted to hide it so that I won't go on that trip and leave her alone. I got mad at her for this. I was stunned to find my prosthesis hidden underneath an auto part in the garage. It had been damaged. It was placed in a position where it had a crack. It was obvious it no longer functions properly. I mean, I could still wear it, but can't put my whole weight on it cause it would break. I yelled at her and showed her what she did. She said she didn't mean it. I told her she did mean it because she was being childish and jealous over a trip, and now she caused me $7,000 worth damage. I told her she ruined everything, that she owed me a new one and that she needed to pay for a new one. She got mad and left. I basically had to use my old crutches. It felt absolutely horrible. I called the guys and told them I wasn't coming. It's been a few days. She's mad that I'm still asking her to pay for a new prosthesis and called me an A for not apologizing and preferring a plastic leg over her. I had to call my parents today to tell them. They told me she should at least help pay half the expense of a new prosthesis since she caused damage to it, and then consider my relationship with her. Have I been an A to her? Also, for those asking about where I am, I'm in Asia, from Philippines. Not the unreasonable one. She's being extremely controlling and refusing to pay for something she broke is a huge red flag. Triangular flag on post. You've been way nicer to her about this than I would be. She should be begging forgiveness, not accusing you of being an A. WTF? This is not only abusive, but so freaking low that I can't even begin to wrap my head around it. This is demented. Not the unreasonable one. She needs to pay for it in full, and you need to take your parents' advice and really have examined this relationship. She degraded you, disrespected you, and screwed with a medical device in her attempt to control you. This is so freaking far from okay, and the biggest, brightest red flag that I have seen in a long time. Am I the unreasonable one for calling the cops when my BF's sister left her children with me for a few days, which ended with her getting a felony charge? I am pretty sure I am and I did not think something this bad would happen. This happened about a year ago. Me and my BF have been together for 5 years. His sister, Claire, has a 1-year-old baby, Alex. Claire is a single mom and sometimes drops her baby off at our place when she has some errands to run. I will be honest here. I have no clue how to take care of a baby. I play with the baby, but other than that my BF usually takes care of Alex. My boyfriend work is on site, so he usually isn't home for 4 days and then comes home for 3 days. One day, Claire asked my BF if she can drop off Alex for the day. BF was supposed to leave for work that evening, since she had said that she will pick up the baby by evening. He didn't mention that. Big mistake. He left around 5 p.m. I was waiting for Claire and kept calling her. She picked up the phone around 8 p.m. and told me that she went to a place few hours away with her friends. She told me to tell BF to take care of Alex for next 3 to 4 days. I told her that BF already left for work. Then she just told me, then you take care of Alex. I will back in 4 days. And then she hung up on me and switched off her phone. I freaked out hard. I cannot call BF because he is unreachable on site. Neither of us have family in the state that we could have called. I called few friends, but no one gave me anything helpful. The bag she gave with Alex only had diapers left in it. The baby was crying her head off and I didn't even know what to feed her safely. I literally didn't know what else to do. So, I called the police and told them what happened. They directed me to a social worker. While the social worker was helping me take care of the baby, the cops called the cops where she was to locate her. The cops found her high marijuana and she had enough on her for them to classify it as possession and intention to sell. Also, I don't think she actually sold anything. She probably just brought enough for her and her friends for the next few days. She didn't get any jail time. She had to do community service and plead guilty. Unfortunately, that also meant she got a felony conviction. This got her fired and she hasn't been able to hold on to a good job since. In my defense, I only wanted her to come back because I didn't want anything to happen to Alex because I am not capable of taking care of her. I did not think she was doing anything that would get her arrested. In her defense, she has left Alex at her home plenty of times, so it's not unreasonable for her to think that I would have no problem taking care of Alex for a few days. Also, this was probably the first time she took a break for herself since Alex was born. My boyfriend was pissed in the beginning, but came around later. Their parents also think I wasn't in the wrong. She obviously hates me and thinks I ruined her life because she wanted a break for a few days. This got brought up recently at a family dinner, which is why I ask, am I the unreasonable one? Not the unreasonable one. Only a few diapers for 3 to 4 days? Dropping off her baby without agreeing to a time frame and then going to get high with friends? I don't think your BF's sister is ready to be a mom. This is either a great wake-up call for her or a sign that the baby should be elsewhere. Your intention was to ensure the baby was safe. That automatically makes you NTA. Not the unreasonable one. Out of the blue for 4 days? I would consider this close to child abandonment. Am I the unreasonable one for mocking my brother for getting rejected by his dream college, that I got into, because he keeps tormenting me over it? My brother Jake, 18 years old male, and I, 17 years old female, had the same dream college, H University. Also, in case you're confused by the ages, we're 1.5 years apart, but I skipped a grade so we were in the same grade for nearly our entire life. Jake was way more passionate about H Uni than I was. He had several H merch clothing, and kind of just assumed he was going there. For example, in conversations he'd say things like once I'm at H, or after I go to H, my plan is. Basically, his life plan rested on him going to H. Jake and I got along pretty well. We'd sometimes give each other advice or study together. However, during college app season, he got super competitive once he realized I was also applying to H. He'd refuse to study together, look over each other's essays, and he'd constantly tell me to not even bother applying. Then, decisions came out and we opened them at the same time. I was accepted, and he was rejected. Jake had a massive panic attack, and instead of celebrating my acceptance with my family, I sat in my room all day because Jake would get furious when he saw me. I once even caught him trying to unlock my laptop to decline my offer, since his friend told me to warn that he had been talking about doing that. My parents obviously punished him for that, which made it so much worse. When my H sweatshirt came in, He screamed at me for showing off, when I just put it in my closet. He told so many people that I only got in because I was a girl and that H mixed the siblings up. Honestly, I felt bad for him because I would be crushed too if I were him. Every time I tried to get him to stop, it got worse. So I just kept tolerating it. I thought it'd get better after the summer, once college actually started. It has not. Now it's really set in that he is going to a good emo state school, and not H. His anger is largely compounded by the fact that he's going to the same college that he used to condescend other students about aiming for. My classes start soon, so I've been setting up in our study, which I share with Jake. Both of our rooms are tiny, with no room to study in, so we share a study with 2 desks that face away from each other. Jake cleared out my whole desk, and broke my lamp in the process. He says that I need to study in my room, so he can use the study without distractions for his classes. We've always both worn headphones, there's literally no distraction. He just doesn't want to see me taking classes at H. I'm so freaking done. I just want to be proud that I got into this college and actually learn crap without my brother screaming at me about it. Update. We got into an argument, and I told him that of course he got rejected since H didn't take toddlers. I've also been wearing my H sweatshirt around the house constantly, which he gets angry about. He kept bothering me, so I superglued H rejection letters in the drawers of his desk, so he has to see them when he opens them. After reading what you did, everyone sucks here. This is escalating. Where are your parents in all this? For college-bound kids, you both need to grow up. Not the unreasonable one. Your brother is hitting obsessive levels of jealousy, trying to decline your offer letter? What a horrible thing to even think of. He deserves the rejection letters in the drawers. Lol, that's hilarious. Even though it was a little mean, he did ask for it. At this point, your parents really need to step in and tell him to calm the dash down already. You didn't do anything to affect his college acceptance. You don't deserve any jealousy. It's 100% not your fault, and he is having an unhinged level of aggression towards you over it. It's not okay. Am I the unreasonable one for cutting off my hearing so I don't have to listen to a family member? I, 15 years old female, am deaf in both ears after getting meningitis as a toddler. Luckily my parents really pushed intervention, so I can read lips, no sign language, and have cochlear implants, so I'm basically like any other girl my age. I just can't hear for crap. My aunt, 40, has been staying with my family. That's me, my mom, my dad, and my 13-year-old sister during quarantine. She is really not someone I like. She critiques every little thing my sister and I do, tells us we need to eat more, or less, depending on the day, even though we're skinny, butts into our personal conversation, and just as Snoopy in general. She tries to instigate fights between us, like asking my sister if she's mad I have something she doesn't. It's also important to know she's done nothing to learn about communicating with me. I'd say about 90% of the rest of my extended family knows sign language. We've told our parents about it a million times, and they've talked to her. I don't think they've given her an ultimatum. So my sister and I devised a plan. For the past few days, whenever my aunt starts talking, I just attach my hearing aids and my sister puts in her AirPods and turns up the volume. We can understand each other fine. My aunt didn't get it the first couple of times, but I think today she understood we were ignoring her and got really upset. She told my dad, and from what I understand, he basically told her she needs to lay off if she's bothering us that bad or she can leave. I was happy to hear that, TBHZ. I heard, lol, her crying later though, and that made me feel like crap. I never meant to make someone cry and now I kinda regret the whole thing. Are my sister and I a-holes for going to such extreme measures? We just wanted her to leave us alone, or at least be nice to us. Update. Wow, I went to sleep and look what I woke up to. Thanks for all the nice comments and stuff. Here's a few things I wanted to point out. I have good hearing with the implants in. Without them in, I will only hear something very loud right next to my ear, like if someone claps into it. Doctors typically rate it on a scale of I am severely deaf. Cochlear implants have 2 parts, external and internal. The external connects to the internal with a magnet. It comes off like you would take off a magnet on your fridge. I can switch it off, but I thought the message would get across better if I yanked it off my head. I wish I could answer everyone who's PM'd me or left comments about the implants. I think unfortunately that's something for your doctor. Everyone is different. I agree Aunt doesn't need to learn sign language. However, because I was in early intervention and then speech therapy for most of my childhood, I have a more normal speaking voice, and so she says I should talk. It's a bit nasally sounding to me and I prefer to sign. Aunt likes to move out of my line of sight and that forces me to speak and makes me feel bad. Also, yes, my little sister is amazing. Thanks for all the nice comments about her. She's my best friend and I love her so much. We decided to be nice to Aunt today and see what happens. Talk at you later. Not the unreasonable one, and if I had a mute button for lousy people I would use it. 2. She's an adult, you are young/kids, and she should be able to deal with it. Glad to hear your dad is on your side. Not the unreasonable one. I'm glad your family is in your corner and your sister sounds like a cool cat. If your aunt doesn't care to make any effort to communicate with you, then what can you do? Maybe she'll get the point and start to make an effort, or maybe she'll leave. Either way, problem solved. Am I the unreasonable one for refusing to pay my half-sister's college tuition when I'm planning to pay for my other half-sister's? When I was 5, my dad left my mom for another woman, who he married when I was 6. I wasn't invited to the wedding. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, my dad's choice, so for the first few years she really struggled as my dad refused to pay any child support and my mom didn't have the money to fight him in court. Eventually, my mom got us back on our feet by working herself to the bone. My mom eventually met my stepdad and had another daughter, Leah, currently 17. My dad also had another daughter, Amy, 19. Growing up I had next to no relationship with my bio dad and consider my stepdad to be my real dad. Bio dad and I have started to repair our relationship recently, though. My mom and stepdad have never been wealthy, and it was always understood that we'd have to take out at least some loans to pay for college. My dad on the other hand was doing very well financially up until very recently. Despite not having a lot of money, my parents still had a small college fund for me, whilst my dad gave me no help at all. I'm currently 25 years old and married to my fantastic husband. Before getting married I made it clear to my husband that I would like to support my sister Leah through college if I'm able to and to also save some money for my parents' retirement. I'm lucky that my husband is very close to my family and also wants to help. My husband comes from money and we both have good paying jobs, so we're in the financial position where we could realistically do it too. I currently have a decent amount of money saved for Leah and my husband has offered to cover any costs not covered by the money when the time comes. We only recently informed her of the money, and she and my parents were beyond thankful. Here's where the problems start. My dad recently lost his job and after several poor investments he no longer has enough money to pay for Amy's college. He called me up and begged me to help her out. I told him I didn't have the money, but since then I've been receiving calls from him, his wife, Amy and my father's side of the family begging me to change my mind and saying things like I shouldn't punish Amy because my mom poisoned me against my father, that Amy is my real sister and I should help her over Leah, that I'm selfish for not even considering it and that I was going to ruin Amy's future. I do have the money I had saved for my parents' retirement that I could give her, but I feel like my mom deserves that money after everything she did for me. I could also ask my husband to pay for it. He probably would do it, but I feel like that would be unfair to him as he agreed to help Leah/my parents not Amy and I don't want to take advantage of his kindness. I could also split the money I saved between them, but it doesn't feel fair to Leah. Am I the unreasonable one for not paying for Amy's college when I'm going to pay for Leah's? Not the unreasonable one, obviously. Your money, your say. Besides, you grew up with Leah, and not with Amy. So by any measure Leah is your real sister, not Amy. Not the unreasonable one. Your dad is the a-hole. His entitlement to anything from you, even on behalf of your half-sister, is insane. Also, it's not your fault that he didn't set aside money for her in a 529 or similar education savings account. This wouldn't be a problem if he had the right priorities to begin with. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more stories delivered to you. Thanks for listening. See you later.